Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna and I am a knitter and maker and creative person living in Seattle, Washington. And today I want to talk to you about what I got up to in the month of December between knitting and sewing and spinning. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And that's all I have to say to start us off. I hope you had a lovely December, a nice festive season. I did. It was very quiet, just stayed at home with my little family, the three of us, and we had a very peaceful few weeks and it's been very nice. And I did get a fair amount of making done. So we will start with what I'm wearing, I guess. This is not a new project. You may have or may not have seen this before, depending on how long you've been watching my videos. But this is the Lou Genser from Sundance Garn, from their pattern booklet, Soft for Women, the one with the Amy slipover and the Guernsey Genser. This is the Lou sweater. It's kind of like the My Favorite Things Knitwear sweater number 9. It's got a wide raglan, 2x2 details, and a split hem at the bottom. But I did amend this a little bit. So in the original pattern, it has really, really long straight sleeves. There are no decreases and they're really, really wide. And I knit this sweater spring of 2022, so well over 2 years ago now. And I just haven't been wearing it that much because the wide sleeves were so annoying to me. I've just decided that I don't like straight sleeves. I find them a bit cumbersome. So like this past year, I made the sweater number 14 V-neck by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and I tapered the sleeves on those. I have another sweater in my wardrobe that has straight sleeves that I'm going to go back and taper just because I don't like the wide sleeve. It's does not really work for me. It's too much fabric flopping around. It doesn't fit in a coat. It snags on stuff, like on door knobs and stuff. I don't like it. So I went back and tapered the sleeves on this. You can see there's a pretty aggressive taper in this. They were like this wide all the way down. And I'll put a picture here for you to see comparing the one sleeve before I tapered it and one sleeve after. So I think I ended up taking out 24 stitches, and I added a little bit of length to the sleeve so it's a little bit longer than it was before. I think before it hit me probably right about here, and now it's hitting like a little bit longer. And I added a little bit of length to the ribbing as well. So yes, the ribbings are done and the tapers, and I just feel like it's a little more wearable for me now than it was before. This is knit in the Hillesvåg unspun yarn. Hillesvåg is a Norwegian brand, and their unspun yarn is definitely the softest and most delicate unspun yarn that I've ever used. So I was a little worried that it was not going to frog very well, but actually it frogged perfectly fine. I did hold 2 strands of this yarn together, and I had wet blocked this already, so I think the strands kind of felted together a little bit, and so they didn't like disintegrate when I started unraveling. You do have to be gentle, and you like kind of have to pull short lengths at a time. The ribbing was definitely the most difficult part to unravel, but once I got into the stockinette, it was perfectly fine. So that was great, and I fixed the sleeves in probably about a week. I had ended up knitting a ways with one decrease rate and then realized I needed to be decreasing a little bit more frequently. So I ended up decreasing every 6 rounds or about every inch, and I did it 12 times. So I took 24 stitches out, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that's my Lou Genser modified edition. Sorry, my hair is really bothering me today. And yeah, if you didn't know, when you have a baby, which I did about 10.5 months ago, your hair falls out and then it grows back in. And for me, it's growing in very curly and very fun right here at the front. So yeah, there's a lot going on with the hair department, but that's not what we're here for. So yes, that is what I'm wearing and what I worked on at the end of the year. I kind of wanted to clear off my needles for the end of the year and like finish up all the projects that I was working on. So I pretty much did that. And then I didn't want to cast anything new on in that like weird week between Christmas and New Year's. I do have a Christmas Eve cast on, but I didn't want to cast on a new garment project. So I figured that would be a good time for me to work on fixing the sleeves on this. And in the past few years, I've run like a little fixing make-along. I call it the fall fix-along, where we spend like September and October reevaluating our wardrobes as we bring like all of our sweaters and wintry fall clothes out and fixing things that might not be perfect. And I kind of just completely forgot to do it this year, but I do want to continue perfecting my wardrobe, not even perfecting, but just improving my wardrobe. So I think one of my 2025 goals is to like every quarter, so like every 3 months or so, go into my wardrobe, find something that's not working. I have a couple things. It's not like I even have to find them. I know what they are and take the time to fix them, because it's not always the most fun thing to do, but it is very functional. So yes, I think next year I want to fix my Moonset pullover by Ozetta, which has straight sleeves that I want to taper and I need to add a little bit of length to. And then the Amy slipover that I made this last year is still not quite perfect. So I need to go back and reevaluate how to fix that a little bit more as well. And I'm sure I can find something else. So yeah, that is a tangent. Okay, finished projects. We'll start with this very, very darling one. This is the last project that I finished for my daughter Caroline this year, and it is her honey vest. It is so cute. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's adorable, and it fits her well, but it's got a little bit of ease in it so she can wear it for quite some time. I just think it's beautiful. I'll pull it up close so you can see the texture. It's all over one color honeycomb brioche with a contrasting back yoke and contrasting finishes. I love it. It's so cute. It's just like every little girl's dream, I feel like. So the main color is my hand spun. This is a 3-ply yarn that I spun wooled long draw from some the terminology still escapes me. From some commercially dyed or from hand-dyed roving that I bought at Fiber Fusion Northwest, which is a kind of the sheepier, woollier, not even woollier, but like more, it's probably like the Rhinebeck equivalent in Washington, or like the Maryland sheep and wool equivalent in Washington. It's not, whereas like Flock, which is also in Seattle, is more of like an Indian tangled, I don't know why I'm feeling the need to describe this right now, but Fiber Fusion Northwest has like a wool barn where you can buy fleece. There's like a spinning and fiber prep equipment auction. And then there's also like hand dyers and maker marketplace. Whereas Flock, the other festival that we have, is just the marketplace. There's not as much of the like raw wool component. So I hope you're following what I'm saying, and I don't know why I'm saying it, but there are different vendors at the two festivals. There's some that are the same, but often Fiber Fusion has more like farm yarns and fleeces and smaller dyers that like don't even sell online. So the dyer who dyed this roving, her name, I now forget, but I will put it on the screen. And she doesn't have a website. Like I could only probably buy more of her work at a festival, but it was 100 grams, maybe 4 ounces actually, so a little more than 100 grams of roving, so carded roving in like strips, and then she had dyed it this beautiful color, which is oxblood. Promised Land Sheep Company, that's the name of the dyer. And so I spun it into a 3-ply just because I wanted to practice spinning 3-ply, and then decided to use it for this. I think it turned out really nice. The only thing I didn't realize until after I'd already knitted it was that there was a bit of a striping happening. I think it's because I split the fiber like lengthwise into 3 and then 3-plied it together, so the colors didn't like quite blend or marl. But I don't think it looks bad, and I don't think it's honestly super noticeable unless you're staring at it for a long time. It just adds to the charm. It's really cute. And then this contrast color is Retrosaria Rosa Pomar Mondim, which is a 100% Portuguese wool. It's technically a sock yarn, but it's 100% wool, non-superwash. And I don't know the color name, but I will put it in the description box. It's got like pinks, like raspberries and lilac and green. I think it's really, really pretty. I bought this when my husband James and I went to Belgium last fall for like a little trip before the baby came. I lived in Belgium for several years, and the store that I bought this from was right by our favorite market, my family's favorite market. And so it's very special to me that we like bought this when we were on a trip, getting ready for her to come, and then I used it in a project for her to wear now that she's here. It's like very, I don't know, it's very special. Hand spun, special yarn. This is I really was quite happy to have this project done, or to work on this project, and now she can wear it. All the finishes they look like double knitting, but they're just knit stockinette folded over and sewn down, which I thought was going to be annoying, but actually wasn't bad at all. And the ties are double knitting. So yeah, it's really, really cute. The only thing is I feel like the bottom doesn't have a ton of stretch in it, so it kind of bubbles around a little bit when she's wearing it, but it's not that big of a deal. Size wise, I had trouble getting gauge. I feel like this is kind of a common issue with patterns from Wool and Beyond. The designer's name is Eileen, and she makes really beautiful, really unique patterns. But her gauge is sometimes very difficult to meet. So I think the gauge for this was 15 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I was at 16 for the honeycomb brioche. And then for the double knitting, I didn't have the right gauge either. So I ended up casting on for both the double knitting and the body, like the actual thing. I used the stitch counts for the largest size. I was going for like a 1 to 2 year size. I think I ended up, like measurements wise, ended up maybe closer to the 3 to 4 year size, but it fits my 10 month old daughter pretty well, with room to grow. Like there's definitely ease in the body, and I went to the length of the 3 to 4 year size because I had yarn. I was worried that I wasn't gonna have enough yarn, and I have leftovers. So I'm not gonna rip this out and lengthen it because I'd have to take the whole edging off, but yeah, so the sizing is a little weird. It's not really any of the sizes, but it will fit her, I think, for the rest of this winter, probably next winter, and potentially the winter after that, which is exciting. So yeah, this is my mini honey vest. It's so cute. It's so cute. I love it so much. It's like the cutest thing I've ever knit. These are not colors I would generally knit a garment for myself, but that's the joy of having a daughter, is that you can make her fun, cute pink things, and she will love and wear them. So yeah, that's my mini honey vest. I do want to make myself one as well this year. There's an adult size pattern for the honey vest. It's not like an urgent, that might be more of like a late summer, fall cast on for me, because I do have most of my next, I think I have like my next 6 projects planned out already, which we can talk about later. But yeah, I want to have one as well so we can coordinate. And yeah, it's so cute. It's so cute. I just admire it. It's darling. So yeah, that's my mini honey vest. Other finished projects. I have one that you haven't seen. It was a cast on, cast off situation. Where did I put it? Here they are. These are the Verona mittens, which they look ridiculous because they're in 2x2 rib. This is a free pattern from Svarte, which is a Swedish yarn brand. And the pattern is only in German, Swedish, and Dutch. But I did a Google Translate situation to figure out the pattern because I really liked this 2x2 rib pattern because it's like nice and fitted but stretchy. So like if James wanted to wear these, he probably could. And I liked how streamlined they were. I made these because we were on a long walk one day in the stroller, and my hands got cold, and I was like, I need a better pair of mittens because I have a couple pairs, but they're not great. So I decided to make these. I made them in Cascade 220 Superwash, which my thinking behind that was like, if we go to the playground and they fall in the mud, I can put them in the washing machine. However, I kind of wish I had used a woolier wool because they did grow a little bit in the wash. They were even more fitted before. I mean, there's still memory in here, but they were even more fitted before. And I think they would also be a little bit warmer if I had used a woolier wool. So I followed my heart on that one, but this was just like a random ball that I had in stash that I needed to use. I did Google Translate the instructions, and I put the translation of the instructions, or like an approximation of the instructions in English, on my Ravelry page for this project. So if anyone would like to make these, there are English instructions there. I think I just need to add the instructions for the thumb. But it's a free pattern, so I don't feel like that's a bad thing. I'm just making it more accessible to more people. But yeah, I think they're really cute. The cuff is knit on a needle size smaller. So the cuff is knit on a 3mm needle, and then the hand of the mitten is on a 4mm needle. So this is like a little bit tighter and more dense, which I like, so that you don't have to change the ribbing, but it holds really nicely. And I like the length of the arm on this too. It's not like quite as long as like a penny glove, but it's longer than some of the other mittens I have, which is an issue because like if your coat comes up, then you have a little cold wrist bit. I don't like that. So that's my Verona mittens. I think they're really cute, very functional. They will be nice for hot momming around the town. These are my mittens. That's pretty much all I have to say about them. They're a one size pattern, but I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to modify to make them bigger or smaller. They're also very stretchy, so they would fit multiple people, I think. And I knit these 2 at a time, which is a trend that you will see carried on sooner because I like knitting things like this. However, it's the second mitten syndrome for me. Like, it's just, once you finish something, you're like, great, I finished. And then you're like, oh no, I haven't. So I did them 2 at a time, magic loop. And I feel like they turned out fine. There's not really any laddering or anything that you can see on the side. This is where the turn was, maybe like a tiny little bit, but I think they actually look really good. So yeah, I think 2 at a time was great. I knit these up very fast because they're on a 4mm needle with a worsted weight yarn. They knit up quite quickly. Maybe it's like a DK, but I didn't swatch. So yeah, those are my Verona mittens. I like the color a lot, and I'm glad I have most of this yarn out of stash. There's a little leftover left, but yeah, those are my mittens. So that's finished object number 2. And let me just double check that I feel like I have something else. I guess not, because this sweater was like one of the other things that I worked on. But let me just check my Ravelry. I track all of my projects on Ravelry like kind of religiously because otherwise I think I would just forget. I have a lot of things scoring around in my mind at the moment, and this just really helps me track things. So yeah, that's it. I have also been working though on my Color Brick Road blanket, which is a long-term whip that I'm working on as I'm taking part in the Woolly Knitting Traditions blanket along, which goes until March. I'm not planning to finish this blanket by March, but I'm gonna keep plugging away on it. This is a free pattern from Purl Soho, and I am using many different colors of the Lamb's Pride worsted, which is a 85% wool, 15% mohair yarn. My mother found all of like single skeins in like a bunch of different colors of this yarn at a thrift store, and she's like, I couldn't leave it there. I had to buy it. I don't know what I'm gonna use it for. I was like, oh, I'll make it into a blanket. So that is what I'm doing. It's the Color Brick Road pattern from Purl Soho. So this is the strip that I started with, and you knit all the way down, 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 all the colors, and then you pick up and knit modularly and also kind of shift the colors in the diagonal direction. So you do like a whole square and then you do the half square. And then I've done, this strip was the one I did in December. I did a whole strip of the blue, and then I'm going to start my January strip, and I'll do a half strip of the blue, and then this green, and then this blue green, and then the green, and blah, blah, blah. It'll go la, la, la all the way down. So it's quite big. I almost wonder if I stand up back here, if you can kind of see it better. There we go. It's taller than me, so my microphone is really stretching. So yeah, this is the cast on edge, and it's big and pretty and comfy. I kind of wish I had switched this green and this green, but I'm not going back to change it at this point. So yeah, there's my blanket. Dun, 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 dun. This stitch marker I got at a knit night at my local yarn store, Tea Cozy Yarn Shop. Love that place. And I put it in there because I was working on this at the knit night, and I knit a good chunk of this over the last couple of weeks. I'm trying to knit one strip a month, and I think my goal is to get to at least 9 strips. So it's going to be a while before I finish this. I started it in October, so maybe if I can finish it by next October, that would be nice. Oh no, I want to do 11 strips. There's 9 colors. I don't want to do 11 strips. So maybe if I just, that seems like a good idea. I'm making this up as I go, but 1 strip a month for the whole year until I run out of yarn, basically, is what I'm going to do. So yeah, I need to start my January strip. Technically, I did the last couple blocks of these on like January 1st or whatever, but it's not that serious. It's all garter stitch. It's all modular knitting. I'm weaving in my ends as I go to make my life easier. And yeah, that's really it. It's going to be really cozy when it's done. It's already like fairly heavy. There's probably, I want to say one of the strips takes like 12 grams of yarn or something. So each of the strips is about 100 grams. So I'm at 300 grams of yarn in here already. But it's going to be really cozy when it's done. So yeah, I'm just working away on that. That is an update. And then, yeah, that's it for finished knitting projects. I do have a finished sewing project I want to show you, and a finished spinning project, and some more whips, and some acquisitions, and some plans. So this is my finished, these are my finished sewing project. We needed some Christmas stockings because we have 3 in our little family now, and I wanted to make some, and I wasn't sure what to use. So I was looking through my fabric stash, and I remembered that I had these quilt blocks, which you can look really close. I found them at a thrift store, and they were like these octagonal blocks. I'll put a photo of what they looked like separately in here for you to look at. But they were hand pieced and like really beautiful, and I couldn't leave them at that store. So I brought them home. I bought them like probably 2 years ago, and they've just been sitting for a while, and I decided that they would be really great for Christmas stockings. So I pieced them together. I used a pattern from Etsy. I don't remember who is the pattern designer for the stockings, but I will link it down below. There's a bunch of cute variations. You can do like a scalloped cuff and a ruffle cuff, and they're really cute. So that's what I ended up doing. So I pieced the quilt blocks together. I was going to try and quilt them, and my machine and I were just like really fighting. I was like, if I want to get these done for Christmas, I can't quilt them. And I actually did kind of quilt this one, and you can't really tell that it's quilted at all. So I was like, I'm not going to fight with my machine to quilt the rest of them. So there is batting in here behind this, the quilted layer, and then the lining. There's a bit of quilt batting, but it's not like actually tacked to the quilt batting. But they're really cute. They're a really good size stocking, and they were fairly easy to make. Honestly, what took the longest was quilting the pieces together. And because I only had a certain number of these quilt blocks, I was basically like sewing a bunch of them together, cutting out the stocking, and then taking the leftovers and piecing it back together with what I had to try and use up as much of the fabric as possible. And I actually probably do have enough of the quilty left to make another stocking. So if we are lucky enough to have another child, I can make another stocking for them, or Caroline's future partner or whatever. So yeah, so I have 3 of these. They turned out really cute. They look really sweet on the fireplace. We have like a red brick fireplace, and they looked really sweet up there. So that was a big project that I did this month. I like the green on the back. I don't know, they're very cute and festive. I'm really pleased with them. I did do a kind of like a little reel about making them. If you want to look at that, it's on my Instagram. So yeah, that's another big project that I did this month. I'm really pleased with those. And then I need to go get my spinning. I will be right back. I do have a very exciting thing to show you, which is my finished sweater spin. I finished spinning for a sweater. I'm really proud of the yarn that I made. It's about 600 grams DK to light worsted weight yarn. It's 100% Shetland. It's very beautiful and tweedy, and I'm really excited to knit it up. It's 2-ply woolen spun, tweedy, gorgeous, delicious yarn. So I spun this with my hands, and it's definitely a much warmer gray than the sweater that I'm wearing. So I think it'll be really nice. Cute. I'm just really proud of this. Like, this is a lot of hours of time spent spinning and plying. And I'm really proud of it. And I'm excited to knit with it. I want to cast out on my birthday with this yarn, which is in a couple weeks. So I have to finish up the garment that I'm working on to be able to do that. But yeah, I'm going to knit the Sun-In sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl, but I'm not going to do the color work. So that sweater is has this really pretty like wave detail color work on the body, but it also has really cool lateral braids around the neck cuff and the arm cuffs and the bottom hem, and some interesting shaping on the sleeves. And I knew I wanted to knit this into just kind of a more simple design because the yarn is so tweedy. I just wanted to let the yarn shine. So I wasn't going to do texture with it, and I was thinking I would do another version of the Marseille sweater by Petite Knit without the stripes, but I've knit that before, and I kind of wanted to support a new designer, so I decided to do the Sun-In. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really pretty, and I'm really excited to use my yarn. So that's really exciting and very fun. So yes, that's my spinning. And then I've also been doing some other little spinning projects. I bought, so this fiber, the fiber for this is from World of Wool. They're a UK based company, and they sell yarn, they sell fiber, they sell all sorts of stuff. And when I ordered that, the giant bat that I used to spin that yarn, I also ordered a little breed sampler kit. You can like build your own breed sampler basically, or like sampler kit of all of the yarn or the fiber that they have. They have carded roving, and they also have combed top. So I just wanted to try a bunch of different breeds. I'm still relatively new to spinning. I've been spinning for less than a year, which also is why I'm so proud of this, because like I have not even owned a spinning wheel for a whole year. It's been less than a year since I first touched a spinning wheel, and I've already spun a whole sweater's worth of yarn, which is very exciting. But I'm still learning like what wool I like to work with, because different sheep and different wools behave very differently. So I got the breed sampler just to like try a bunch of different wools and see what I like. And I've spun up half of it so far, and I have all of these little minis to show for it. So I've done, this is I'm missing one. There's one downstairs that's Corriedale that I think is my favorite so far. And then I've got, this is Gotland, which is more of a long wool. This is not my favorite, but it's very shiny and got drape to it, whereas like a Corriedale is a little bit more bouncy and springy. And then I've got, this is Massam, which is kind of like in between. I would say it's kind of similar to the Gotland, with like, it's not as quite as drapey, but it's got a longer staple, a little bit more crimp. It's like a little bit more halo-y. And then we've got this, oh, this is the Corriedale, it's brown. I really like how squishy this is. It's definitely more like squishy and bouncy. And then we've got, this is Faroe Island. I haven't tagged this one yet. This is brown Faroe Island wool, which is it kind of reminds me of a slightly less rustic version of Lopi, or of Lopi, like Icelandic wool. It's got longer hairs on it and a longer staple, but it's a really pretty color. And then I've got, this is Norwegian, which is kind of springy like the Corriedale. I like this one. And then this is Finn, which I also really like. But I would say the Norwegian is softer than the Finn. I don't know. It's just so fun to like try all these different wools, figure out what I like. And so this is my little breed sampler so far. I have a couple more I have 4 more to try. I've got Teeswater, Dorset Horn, Icelandic, and Texel maybe. So I think I'm discovering that I like down wools and fine wools more than long wools. But we'll see. I'm excited to keep going and keep trying this out. And actually, on the subject of spinning, I do have a little sample that I spun up in this basket. Sorry, this is, a little sample that I spun up of the fleece that I processed that we talked about last month. This is a little ball of that yarn. I bought a raw fleece and some hand cards, and I washed the raw fleece, and I carded some row lags, and I spun up a little sample of the yarn, or of the fleece. And this is a 3-ply, because I think I'm going to use it to make the Esther jacket. So that's where we're at on this, just kind of an update. This is like a little 20-gram sample. I need to knit a swatch to see how it knits up, but I think it's going to be great. And yeah, the color is a lot grayer than I was expecting, I guess. The fleece is kind of like a white and brown marley mix, so I don't know. It's not exactly the color I was expecting, but like it's kind of gray, I guess. It's like a light gray maybe compared to, this is the Shetland that I've been working with. This is another gray. Okay, it is kind of like beige, I guess. So, but next to a white, it definitely has more brown in it. So yeah, anyway, that's just something to show you. It's very fun. I'm really proud of that too. And I'm not going to spin that for a while. I want to knit my hand spun sweater before I take on another big spinning project. So yes, I think that's all the spinning stuff that I have to talk about. So that's it for my spinning interlude. We can go back to works in progress now. And we will start with my Christmas Eve cast on, which is the Grow Socks by Fibertales. Here they are, back on the 2 at a time theme. There they are. You can kind of see the texture on there. this yarn, I was thinking, oh, it just really needs to be the Grow Socks, and I haven't knit with a ton of hand-dyed yarn, and you can tell because you can't really see the texture on there, but that's okay. This yarn is yarn that is also a recent acquisition. It is a one-of-a-kind colorway from Little Fiber Company. It's actually her, which is like my favorite hand dyer. I found her at Flock, and she's like she's like my has opened my world to the hand dyeing, because I haven't really been drawn to it before, but I really love her colors and her work. Her name's Lauren, and Little Fiber Company, which is her current company name, dyes on non-superwash bases and natural wools, which is great, but she, I think, rebranded recently, maybe in the last year or so. She used to be called the Yarn Addict and dyed on more superwash bases. So this is kind of leftovers from, she was like trying to do a sale to clear out her Yarn Addict inventory. So I got this 30% off. It's a 50 gram ball of 80/20 superwash merino nylon, and it's a one-of-a-kind colorway that I just thought was really, really pretty. It looks kind of like berries, like a really rich Bordeaux-y color, but actually knit up, I think it kind of reminds me of like chocolate covered strawberries. There's like pinky tones in it and browns, so you can kind of see the texture there. And I'm not as worried, like, I don't know, maybe this wasn't the best pattern to use for this yarn, but I think it's really pretty. The only thing I'm worried about is I was planning to do a toe up sock with this pattern because I only have 50 grams and I wanted to knit them 2 at a time. But then I was like, oh, they have to be the Grow Socks. And while I do think they look really great, I'm kind of worried about yarn situation. But if I need to just do a contrasting toe, I think it's fine. So yeah, that's my Christmas Eve cast on. I've just finished the cable-y section of the pattern, and I'm working on the leg now. And I'm probably going to do another inch of knitting before I go to the heel. I don't like a super, super long leg on my sock, on my socks. So I think hopefully I should be fine with just 50 grams. Most of my socks I've knit are usually fine with just 50 grams. So that is my Christmas Eve cast on, my current little sock project. I did not knit a single pair of socks last year, so I'm hopeful that I can knit a couple more this year. I think I want to knit like 3 or 4 pairs at least. So yes, those are my little Grow Socks. I think I'm also going to try and knit 1 pair of socks a quarter, like every 3 months or so. So if I can finish these by end of March, that would be great, which I should be able to do because the rest of it is just stockinette. So yeah, those are my socks. And then my other big work in progress is my New Year's Eve cast on, which is the Feather Cardigan by the Knit Pearl Girl in this insanely bright, beautiful red color. This was a Christmas gift that I got. It's the Briggs & Little Country Roving, which is a really great unspun yarn. It's probably the most robust unspun yarn and the easiest to use if you have never knit with unspun before. I will be doing an unspun yarn like roundup video in the next couple of months, where I'm going to talk about all the different unspuns that I've used and how they kind of compare to each other on a bunch of different things like softness and delicateness and like ease of use and all that stuff. But for now, I've knit with Briggs & Little Country Roving before, but not for a full garment. So I'm excited to be using it. This is just the most beautiful, like bright, bright red. I'm really, really enjoying it. And yes, this is the Feather Cardigan by the Knit Pearl Girl, which is actually intended to be knit with 3 strands of mohair. But I had a very, very specific idea in mind of what I wanted my red cardigan to look like. Like I wanted a round neck. I wanted, I wanted a drop shoulder. And this pattern was the best fit for that. And the yarn works on the gauge actually quite well. It's a 14 stitch gauge, which is, I'm a little tight right now, but once I wash and block, it should be fine. This yarn does bloom really nicely and like it gets a lot of air in it and grows. So it's a little bit like dense and not a lot of ease right now, but once it's washed, I think it'll be really nice. So yes, I just last night joined in the round, because it's such a big gauge, it's going pretty quickly. So I did the whole back panel. There's some interesting shaping on this pattern that I've never used before. That's another reason why I wanted to knit this pattern, is because I've never knit anything from Sophie before, and I think she's a very thoughtful and like intentional designer. So I wanted to knit some of her patterns. So yeah, you have this kind of like increase line on the back. You do some shaping on the front for the shoulder, and the shaping on the sides is different than something I've ever done before. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm hoping the fit will be really nice. And yeah, I'm hoping I'm hoping to get this done by my birthday, which is in, what are we, the 5th today? 15 days, 2 weeks, basically. But I think I can do it. Like, this is all, I've done this entire yoke in 5 days, and I haven't even been working on it exclusively. So I think the body's going to be kind of a slog, because who likes to knit back and forth? And it's also like, because of the dense yarn and the large needles, it's kind of like hurting my arms or my elbows and wrists a little bit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish this in time, but I'm going to try. I've got to do the body, sleeves, obviously, but I'm going to keep going. I'm hoping I can get this done. If I can get the body done by the 10th, I think I could probably do the sleeves in 10 days. And I think I'll probably do the body, do all the ribbing details, and then like the button band and the collar, and then do the sleeves. So if I can get the body and the button bands done in next 5 days, we'll see. We will see. But that's my feather cardigan, which I'm really excited about. I got 3 balls of this country roving, which comes 5 strands together. And it's an 8-ounce ball, so over 200 grams in a cake. So I actually have 600 grams of this yarn. And each cake, if you do single stranded, so like 5 strands together, it's like 140 meters, but there's 5 strands in here. So there's like almost 700 meters of yarn in here. And I'm holding it double stranded. So I'll get about 350 meters from a cake. And I have not even finished the first cake yet. I have this much yarn left from the first one of these. So I think I may only need 2 of these, maybe 2.5. And if I have extra, I might make a matching cardigan for Caroline, or I might make like a really fun red beanie for myself. We'll see. I'm really having a red moment right now. I'm really enjoying these like really bright, bold reds. So yes, those are my current works in progress. And I'm going to cast on my set-in sweater on or around my birthday. Basically, as soon as I finish this. I don't really want to have 2 garment projects for me on the needles at the same time. So as soon as I finish my cardigan, I will cast on my hand spun sweater, which is very exciting. I have one more work in progress, which is like a very gentle work in progress. Like I just started it. And that is this, which, oh no, I just pulled it off the needles. Oh gosh, I'm so dumb. Hold on. Okay, problem solved. This is what I've got to show for it so far. This little piece of lace. This is going to become the Gooseberry Dress by Knitting for Olive, and I want this to be my daughter Caroline's birthday dress. Her birthday is at the end of February. And so I want to knit this dress for her to wear on her birthday. So this is another reason why I don't want to have 2 garment projects for me on the needles at once, is because this is a fingering weight dress on 3mm needles, and it's going to be a lot of knitting because it's like a longer dress with long sleeves. So, and it has this lace repeat around the bottom. You do the lace and then pick up stitches you do the lace that's on this needle because you leave the stitches live. You do the lace, you graft the lace bottom together and then pick up stitches and knit bottom up. And just this one little tiny lace repeat took me like an hour, and I have to do like 26 of these. So I'm a little concerned that I'm not going to be able to finish this in time. But we'll see. I would like to have this for her birthday. So that's going to be more of a priority, I think, than my hand spun sweater. Is getting this dress going. So I have a swatch in stockinette, which I need to go up from, I swatched on a 3mm needle. I think I need to go up to a 3.25, but I'm gonna keep chipping away at this because my hands are hurting from the bigger cardigan. I think I'm gonna work on this for the rest of the day and try and get a good chunk of the lace border done. I think the more that I do the lace repeat, the more intuitive it will become. It's just that there's bobbles, and bobbles take forever and I hate them, but that's okay. This cone of yarn I found at a thrift store, again, a couple of years ago. It's 100% superwash wool. in this kind of pretty beigey color. I'm not sure if this is the best color for her, but I can always over dye it if I decide that it's not quite perfect. But yeah, that's that. That's my last whippity whip. So yeah, that's all I've got right now. I don't have any other whips or sewing projects on the go or spinning projects on the go. I'm just trying to I've been doing a lot of spinning. I did a lot of spinning in November and December. Especially in December, I applied all of that yarn and spun probably like 300 or 400 grams of singles. So did a lot of spinning. But I'm excited to spend January doing a bit more knitting, using up some of the yarn in my stash and enjoying the yarn that I've made. So yes, that is that. I guess we'll go into acquisitions and plans next. When I ordered the yarn from Little Fiber Company, the one that I used for my Christmas Eve cast on, I also got this skein. This is her Merino Sock, which is 85% non-superwash merino and 15% silk. It's a 2-ply yarn, and this is the color Pairs Well with Friends. I believe this is from her dessert collection. It is so beautiful. I love her. I think her yarn is beautiful, and I love that she uses non-superwash wools because I'm not really a superwash girl, despite the fact that I have 2 superwash projects on the go. I tend to shy away from superwash wool. So I'm basically trying to use up all the superwash that I have in my stash, and then I'm not going to purchase any more probably. But yes, I think this is gorgeous. And I'm going to use it to make a pair of socks. I'm not sure if I just want to do like stockinette socks or rib socks or little eyelet lace socks. I'm not sure, but these are going to become socks. I think this yarn is so pretty. It's got like purples and pinks and I don't know. I love it. And this yarn feels delightful. It is 492 yards for 100 grams. So it's like a very generous fingering weight. And I like the twist on it as well. So yes, that's my acquisition. And then I got, along with the Country Roving from Briggs & Little, I also got a sweater quantity of Briggs & Little Regal, and this is the color Copper. I saw this color when I went to Canada earlier last year in like July of last year at a yarn store in BC, and I was obsessed with it. I think it's so pretty. If you've been around for a while, you know I love Briggs & Little yarn. They're a Canadian yarn brand, and they use Canadian wool and mill in New Brunswick. And I love their yarn. And this is just like, their colorways are so beautiful and heathered, and the wool is very long wearing. It's a little prickly, but it doesn't pill super badly, and it's very easy to knit with. And I don't know, I just really, it's very affordable. I really like Briggs & Little. I think a skein of Regal is like $8 or 100 grams, 113 grams. And it's 272 yards or 250 meters. So I got 7 of these because I want to make a sweater for me and hopefully a matching for my daughter. And I'm not sure what sweater I'm going to do yet. I'm considering one of the Albiona McLaughlin patterns, either the Saglan or the Versal. So yeah, I mean, this maybe also isn't the best color for me, but it's the most beautiful color in the world that I don't really care. It's so pretty, honestly. Similar vibe here, but I'm really excited about that. So I have a bunch of skeins of that to cast on at some point this year. And then there was a sock yarn swap at my local yarn store. We have knit night on Thursdays, and we did a little sock yarn swap. So I brought some sock yarn out of my stash that I didn't want, and I came home with 2 skeins. This is the Woolbury Fiber Company Winter's Eve. This is berry merino, which is 100% superwash merino, which I did not realize. I thought it had nylon in it, and I'm a little wary of making socks out of 100% superwash merino because I just feel like they're not going to hold up as well. It's a 2-ply. So I might use this to make another version of my hat that I showed you last month, my little self-drafted hat, which I do intend to write up as a pattern. Thank you all for your very kind comments about it. I might do that and hold this with a strand of mohair maybe, although I don't love mohair. I don't know. I just really like the color on this. This is very me. I was wearing my Marseille sweater at that knit night, which is a very similar color to this. And I don't know. I really like this. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I could make something for Caroline. But yes, that's this. And then I also got, this is Sisleret Holy Night. It's an 80/20 superwash merino polyamide. This is another beautiful red, but it's got kind of like tonals. It's a tonal. It's like more, or more of a variegated red. And I have an idea for this. I have an idea for some socks I want to self-draft. And I think I'm going to use this as the main color. They're going to have a little color work on them, and I think this is what I want to use as the main color. So those probably won't come for a while, but these, and I have one more skein of sock yarn in my stash that I want to use. Those are probably going to be my socks for the year. So yeah, that's a little bit of plans, a little bit of acquisitions. And then lastly, I guess I've talked a little bit about plans, but I have one more plan that I want to show you, which is a swatch for with my hand spun fiber that I got at Flock, which is also from Little Fiber Company. I told you she was my favorite. She is very much my favorite. This is her matcha cheesecake colorway. She did a dessert collection this year that was so pretty, and I fell in love with this green yarn, and I've knit a little swatch for it because I'm going to make a vest. So this is my yarn swatched up. It's very cool and fun, and I'm going to make the Stockholm slipover by Petite Knit, just the very basic stockinette slipover. My gauge is a bit off, so I'm just going to adjust the gauge on the pattern to work for me. This is 100% Falkland wool, by the way. It's really springy and nice, and I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I'm really excited to cast this on, but I think I'm not going to cast this on until after I finish Caroline's dress. So I also, so that's my plan for this. This will probably be more of like a spring project for me, like March, April time maybe, because I'm hopeful that I can wear the vest as a vest and also as a top. So yeah, that's my other plan. And I think that's it for me. I feel like this has been a very long video. Oh, one more acquisition that I'm holding right here in my lap. I got the Licca copper needles for Christmas from my mother-in-law. They are gorgeous. I'm usually an Addie Click girl, and I do love my Addie needles. I will never stop loving my Addie needles. However, I wanted to try something new, because sometimes you just do, and I really like these so far. There are also a couple sizes in this set that I don't have in my Addies, like these are 3.25s, which is perfect because I need those for my dress for my daughter. So they're just really beautiful needles. I would say they're a little bit, just like a hair less slick than my Addie Turbos, which is the set that I have. I also have a couple pair of Addie Rockets, but those are the same material. They're just a different pointiness. I like the pointiness on these needles. I would say they're pretty similar to the Addie Rockets or Addie Turbos. Someday it will focus. They're like decently pointy, but they are, I think, a little less pointy than the Addie Rockets. They're closer to the Addie Turbos. If I was smart, I would have brought my Turbos to show you. But yes, and it's got size 3.25, 3.5, 3.75, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 8, 9, and 10 millimeter sizes. I don't use US sizes because they don't make any sense to me. I think about my needles in millimeter sizes because that's like a tangible thing. You can like hold your needle up to a measuring tape and see what size it is. But yes, these are them. And then the other thing I really like about these, I'm using these needles in my feather cardigan, and I really like it. The cords they're the screw-on ones, which that's the one thing I like about the Addies is that they click. You don't have to like tighten them up with the thing, and they don't ever just like come untwisted. But I do really like these cords because they auto twist. Like there's a twisty mechanism in the cord, like where the join between the plastic and the metal is. So they like twist on their own, so they don't get tangled. Because I know people have feelings about plastic cords like this getting twisted up, but I have the Addie ones and I don't really find that's a huge problem. And then with these, that's really not a problem because they rotate on both sides. Yeah, I'm really pleased with these so far, and I'm going to keep using them as and when. And then the other thing that I got, my mom got me this, was this cute little set of darning needles and the case for them. So the darning needles are from Pearl Soho. They are from their brass notions, and they are a little bit bent, which I wasn't sure if I was going to like, but I actually do really like, especially for Italian bind off. I feel like it's really easy to get under the stitches with that bent needle. So there's a smaller one and a bigger one. And then she also got me the little case that they're in, which is from Thread and Maple. They're a Canadian brand, and they do a lot of knitting accessories. They have leather accessories like needle cases and stuff, and then they have wooden accessories as well. So yes, I'm just keeping that in here in my needle case so it doesn't get lost, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. This is a really nice set of needles. I'm enjoying them so far, and I think I will continue to enjoy them. So yeah, that's that. And they're less expensive than like the ChiaoGoos. I think these are like 120. So similar price to the Addies actually. I'm not sure if I prefer one over the other yet, but I'll let you know as I continue using them. Okay, for real this time, I think that's all that I have. My voice is getting raspy. Thank you so much for being here. I really hope you had a lovely holiday season. I hope you're looking forward to new and exciting projects in 2025. I sure am. I have lots of things planned for me and for Caroline, and I think it's gonna be great. So I feel like I have like renewed my knitting mojo. I have projects I'm excited about, and yeah, so that's really it for me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again soon. I'm hoping to get my Everything I Knit in 2024 video out in the next few weeks. It's gonna be a pretty big split between baby knits and knits for me. I did a lot more baby knitting than I expected. I did a little reel on Instagram of everything that I knit for Caroline this year, and there was a lot of stuff there because I felt like I hadn't knit that much this year, but really I just haven't knit that much for myself, and I knit a lot of fingering weight baby sweaters, which frankly have the same stitch count as like a DK or a worsted weight adult sweater. So I did actually do a fair bit of knitting this year, and I'm excited to show you my projects and talk to you about them. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you are doing well, and I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you again in the next one. Thanks.